Oh my goodness. We are live with the Raw recap for May 5th. Raw just went off the air. We're going to go ahead. It was a good night. Raw was in Omaha tonight, and it was a really good show. Did a lot of good things. Build up to Backlash is on its way this Saturday. And let's go ahead and get into our recap for this evening. With the So the show kicks off. Jay Uso makes his entrance to the crowd, celebrating with the fans in attendance in Omaha tonight. He calls out Logan Paul, who he will face this Saturday for the World Heavyweight Championship, and he is interrupted by Paul Heyman. Him and Heyman have an exchange in the ring. Uso informs Heyman that he warned Roman Reigns and CM Punk about him. Paul informs him, and Paul Heyman then informs Jey Uso that he is the one that built the bloodline to begin with and built up Roman Reigns for his historic run as the Universal Champion. Paul Heyman also reminds us that the power that he does not possess the power that comes along with holding the World Heavyweight Championship, but the number one contender right now, which is Seth Rollins, does understand that power since he was the first World Heavyweight Champion. Heyman then issues a challenge on the behalf of Seth Rollins for whoever wins the championship this Sunday at Backlash, setting up, which will be a very good match, which I'm assuming is going to be Jey Uso. They also, and that Uso says, well, we don't have to wait for after Backlash. We can have that match right here tonight. And Paul Heyman says, well, let me talk to Seth Rollins. And Uso says, well, I'm ready to go if you are. And the match is made. Let's go ahead and get into our first match. We had Penta versus JD McDonough with Finn Balor and Carlito at ringside. Very good start off. Penta hit him with the sidekick and a headlock to start the match. Some big highlights from the match were JD McDonough hit an amazing Death Valley driver on the apron of the ring. I mean, it just looked brutal. I mean, it was a very good spot in the match. Followed it by a Spanish Fly, which took JD McDonough down. So then he hit a crossbody to the floor on Balor. Balor and Carlito ended up getting ejected after tossing Penta into the ring. Gable came out to interfere. Gable came out to try to interfere on McDonough's behalf. Did not work. Penta hit him with a Mexican Destroyer for the win. Backstage, we see Grayson Waller talking to Adam Pearce, trying to get himself a match. But then once he hears what Adam Pearce's opponent for him will be, he actually talks Austin Theory into taking the match when the opponent has not been announced. We see during the break, Karrion Kross is talking with the crowd about Sami Zayn turning down Rollins and Breaker's offer to join them from the past Monday night. That is still setting something up. I really like Karrion Kross's gimmick that he's got going on with the devil's advocate thing. I think he should be used a lot more. Karrion Kross is a great talent. Let's go. And we have our second match. Theory makes his way down to the ring. Sheamus is introduced as the mystery opponent. This is Sheamus's first one-on-one singles match since the Royal Rumble. Drop kick by Theory. Sheamus hit an Irish curse backbreaker, followed by a cloverleaf. Theory rolls out, and Sheamus with the top rope club to the floor. Theory wears down Sheamus during the break. Sheamus hits a pair of clotheslines. Then after that, Sheamus hits a very vicious-looking bicycle knee that I swear would have knocked out about anybody. Sheamus is sent to the post, followed by a roll through into a blockbuster by Austin Theory. Sheamus hits white noise from the second turnbuckle. Sheamus goes to get the 10 beats of the Baldwin, actually ends up delivering 14. Follows up with a bro kick and the 1-2-3. Sheamus defeats Austin Theory. Just a side note with Austin Theory, I like what they're kind of doing with him. They're really setting up this feud, this tension between him and Grayson Waller. I do definitely think that is going to be coming to a head here very shortly. I do see a big babyface turn in Austin Theory's future. Austin Theory is the real deal. I mean, he is the real deal. He deserves as many opportunities as he can get, in my opinion. And then right after that, we see AJ Styles come in. The Judgment Day is in their locker room. AJ Styles comes in, challenges Dirty Dom for the title after Backlash, saying he should be next in line. And Finn Balor kind of has a look like, wait, I was going to challenge for that, but it looks like they're setting up the tension there between Balor and Dominic for the future. Next, we have Becky Lynch come out after the break. Becky is telling the crowd how she is the victim of all this. She says that Bayley is garbage, called Lyra the recycling, which was pretty kind of funny. And she will take her out also. Lyra makes her way out. Lyra says, that Becky Lynch invented recycling because that's all she's done her whole career is recycle her moves and other people's other people's gimmicks. And then Lyra goes on to tell Becky that, she's been gone. She's basically a part-timer now. She's not helping with boosting up the women in the division. Becky says, well, it's not my job to boost the women up. It's my job to beat everyone. Lyra tells Becky she better get used to being in second place. And then Becky decks Lyra. A fight breaks out. They break out onto the floor, brawling. They get broken up by security. Security can't handle them. They end up brawling back into the ring. Becky goes for the manhandle slam. Lyra counters to the Nightwing, and that is the end of that segment. In our third match of the evening, we had Roxanne Perez versus Io Sky. This is a very good match. I like what they're doing with Roxanne Perez. I do hope they start showing her more often and utilizing her because she is a great talent and she can provide a lot of depth on the show. She had an amazing, incredible championship run in NXT. She is definitely ready for the big stage. The match starts out. Io hits Perez with the shoulder tackle. Perez repays it to her with a vicious slap. I mean, it was a good slap. Then we go then Perez follows that up by a tilt-a-whirl head scissors, followed by a suicide dive to the outside. And then we go to break. During the break, Perez worked on Io Sky's legs, trying to injure the legs. Io did follow it up with an amazing looking arm drag off of the second rope, which was a really good move. Io also then hit a face plant to Perez, followed up by a top rope missile drop. Io favoring her right knee, nails a German suplex and a moonsault on Perez. The pending battle ensues, which lasted for about probably upwards to 3 minutes, or they just kept reversing into different pinning combinations. But with Io did end up reversing the pinning battle for the win. Perez offers a handshake and exits the ring. But right after the ring, it was right after the match. Her exiting the ring was all set up. Turns out it was all set up. Io was attacked from behind by Julia. Perez re-entered the ring for her and Julia to lay a beatdown on Io Sky. In our fourth match, we had Rusev versus Otis. That was a good match. A lot of heavy hitting, a lot of big moves, a lot of fighting on the outside. In the end, Otis goes for a corner splash, which is the Rusev then counters that with a kick, locks in the accolade, and Otis taps for the win. After post-match, Otis did go back in to attack Tozawa, and Otis nails him with another kick, locks him back in another accolade, and then that was the end of that match. Next up, we have the Pat McAfee and Gunther segment. McAfee played to the Nebraska crowd. There was pointing out Matt Rule and some Nebraska Cornhuskers that were in attendance, saying, and also mentioned that Omaha was the home to the College World Series, which the baseball stadium is actually just right across from the arena where the event was held tonight. He did mention that he tapped out to Jey Uso at WrestleMania. Gunther says he is going to remain professional tonight and says that, and in return, McAfee says, well, Michael Cole is the true professional, and that he does deserve to have an opinion and not deserve to be attacked for his opinions. And following that, McAfee tells Gunther that he has lost the dream and the fire for pro wrestling after his World Heavyweight Championship loss to Jey Uso at WrestleMania. The crowd started chanting soft at Gunther. Gunther looked rattled, says that McAfee's comments tonight definitely got him remotivated and got him in the mood for their match coming up Saturday at Backlash. And basically just threw down the mic and walked out of the ring, and that was the end of the segment. On to our main event. So we had Jey Uso versus Seth freaking Rollins with Braun Breaker in his corner. Match begins with Rollins and Uso tying up. Rollins catches Uso with a crucifix roll-up for a 2 count. Uso then returns the favor by a stiff slap to Rollins. Rollins chops Uso, exchanging punches. Uso reverses a pedigree attempt. And Uso then, following that, goes for a kick, and Rollins rolls out of the ring. Rollins comes back in and kicks Uso, followed up by stomps. Heyman and Breaker tend to serenade Seth Rollins on the outside of the ring. Uso with ended up following that combination up with an enziguri. I mean, it was a very good match, very back and forth. One of the really good spots in the match was Rollins got thrown out of the ring, sent to the table, followed by a suicide dive by Uso, sending Rollins over the table, which was a very good spot in the match. And then Uso and Rollins roll back in the ring, catching each other at the double cross body, exchanging punches. Jay with the Samoa drop. Uso goes in for the corner splash. Braun interferes. Rollins hits a top rope superplex Falcon Arrow combo. Uso kicks out at 2. Sammy comes out of the crowd and attacks Breaker. Uso super kicks, spears, and splash combo. Rollins kicks out at 2. Breaker spears to the outside. Out comes CM Punk with the steel chair and attacks Breaker and Rollins with the steel chair. Sami Zayn, Uso, and Punk stand tall as we go off the air. Overall, it was a very good Raw tonight. I do like what they're doing here with um, I'm starting to really like what they're doing here with this whole Austin Theory, Grayson Waller thing. Potential feud. There is some animosity between them. I do like where they're going with that. I think that could make for an amazing kind of mid-card feud. Just to kind of spice things up a little bit. I think that I think Austin Theory has in the future an amazing babyface run ahead of him. He is definitely going to be. It could definitely really help elevate his career, in my opinion. Kind of splitting those two up and going with that, he could be a very good mid card heel or babyface with after the splitting those two up. Overall, it was a very good Raw tonight. I thought it was a really good show. Crowd was really into it, as Midwest crowds always are. They always really get into the shows. A lot of chants, a lot of. It was very good. I think tonight's card really did help forward the progress heading into Backlash this weekend. It really helped forward a lot of the stories that we're at right now. And overall, I thought it was a really good Raw tonight. That is your Raw recap for tonight. Thank you, and have a good night.